Hey, it's me, MLB. This is chapter 91 of Touch. This one is titled Winged Hero. Oh my what? Ah, buddy, I definitely won today's bet, so you gotta go in the outfit of my choice, you said with a cheeky grin. Oh man, Hawks moaned, so my wager doesn't even come in second place? Nope, you said as you shook your head with a smile. Unless you want to take Hyoko to work again tomorrow. No, please, no, Hawks wailed dramatically. You laughed and hugged him again. Okay, I'll let you off the hook for tomorrow, he said with a wink. You tried to get off Hawks's lap, but he refused to let you off, wrapping an arm around behind your back as you moved backwards. No, don't go, I was enjoying that cuddle, he said as he tried to kiss your neck. I know you, Kigo, it goes from cuddle to rumble in less than a second, you squealed as you struggled to get free. At my trademark top speed, baby, he leered. The next day, Hawk strolled into work in a sequins dress that you had picked out for him, working the outfit like he owned it. The receptionist looked up when she heard the very familiar click, click, click of heels on the tiled floors and smiled, ready to greet the owner of the heels. She nearly choked on her own saliva when Hawk sashayed up to the desk in his get-up. Morning, Jill, he said brightly as he struck a pose. Good Lord, Hawks, what on earth? I lost the bet from yesterday, he said brightly. This is what the wife wanted me in. Well, she has great taste as far as dares go, the receptionist chuckled. Thanks, Hawk said as he turned and popped a leg up behind him. Gotta go be a hero now. Ta-ta! The receptionist watched speechlessly as he strutted off down the hall to the elevator and waited for it to come down to his level. Everyone made comment when they saw him in the dress, but he handled it like a champ, doing curtsies and flamboyant hand movements just for added flair. How are you going to take down villains in that outfit? Someone asked him as he made his way to his office. Ah, it'll be easy this way, he cajoled. I won't need to use my quirk or anything, I can just stun them into silence with this killer outfit. The person laughed as Hawks struck a vogue pose. I'd pay good money to see that, they replied. Hawks chuckled and waved them off as he entered his office to catch up on yesterday's paperwork. An hour later, there was a knock on his door. Hawks, we need you in the debrief room. We have a case, one of the officers that worked at the agency said. Sure, Hawks said as he stood up. Hawks, the officer said with surprise. That outfit's, gorgeous? Hawks finished his sentence for him. Hawks laughed. I lost a bet, he said with a smile. Whoever you bet with, they must really hate you, the officer said with a laugh. It was my wife, Hawks replied. Oh, sorry, Aren't you worried about your public image? The officer asked, changing topics as he looked Hawks over. Nah, Hawks said dismissively. Couldn't care less, to be honest. If anything, this outfit's going to get me more attention. You got that right, the officer agreed, as Hawks strutted past him in his heels. What's this case? Hawks asked curiously as the officer caught up to him, and he and the officer walked side by side to the debrief room. There's a villain going around burning people, basically cremates them, the officer said frankly. Hawks's brain immediately clicked into gear. And you want me to find this person? Hawks asked the officer. Yeah, the officer replied, glancing back over his shoulder as someone wolf whistled to Hawks. Hawks looked over his shoulder and shot the wolf whistler a finger hearts while pulling his dress up a little to show off a leg. God, Hawks, the officer groaned. Really? Fan service, Hawks replied with a laugh as the wolf whistler cackled away in the background. They got to the debrief room and Hawks addressed the group. Morning, fellas, he greeted to the room of men. They just stared at him in his dress, speechless. Finally, the head officer spoke. You've got your hair done differently today, Hawks, he commented gruffly, and the room fell apart laughing. That seemed to break the ice, then the debriefing continued. There have been a few cases recently of a villain who possesses a fire quirk and he's going around disintegrating people, the debriefing officer said. Witnesses say that they see blue or white flames and smell burning flesh, but they never see the villain. Any ideas, Hawks? The officer in charge asked the dolled-up hero. Yeah, maybe, Hawks replied with a smirk. Leave it with me, I'll check it out. Okay, thank you, the lead officer said. Don't snap a heel out there, yeah? I'll try not to. These shoes are borrowed from my wife's uncle, Hawks said with a laugh. Sorry, uncle? One of the guys asked. Hawks nodded. Listen, he said, holding a hand up. I've made a living off chasing down criminals and villains alike. I've come up against so many different types of people, and I can honestly say that I would not like to be on the receiving end of this particular uncle's wrath, he said with a chuckle. He's not to be messed with. With heels that high, I'm inclined to believe you, the officer replied. Anyway, gentlemen, I'll take my leave for now and I'll go and find this villain so I can show him my outfit, Hawks said with a cheeky smile as he catwalked out the door. After casually flying around town, listening to conversations below with his wings and flashing his boxes to countless people, Hawks located the villain in question. The villain, Darby, was just about to incinerate someone when a drag queen dropped from the sky and landed in a hero pose right in the middle of the alleyway beside him. Darby dropped the victim and the poor man scurried off as Hawks and Darby squared up. "What the actual hell are you wearing?" Darby asked in the most done voice he could muster. "You're not even going to compliment the shoes?" Hawks asked, acting offended. "You look like a hooker," Darby sneered. "How much for a blowjob?" "You couldn't afford my prices," Hawks replied airily. "What are you doing at this end of town, honey?" he asked as he walked over to the building wall and leaned up against it. "Had a meeting with Nunya," Darby replied, as his tired turquoise eyes watched Hawks cautiously. "Nunya?" Hawks asked, tilting his head curiously. "None of your damn business, you cross-dressing weirdo," Darby said with a slight scowl. "Well, it is my damn business when you're going around making campfires out of people," Hawks replied back, trying to find pockets in the dress to put his hands into, but instead just ended up rapidly sliding his hands down the outfit repeatedly, getting more and more frustrated that he couldn't tuck them in anywhere. "Why doesn't this thing have any pockets?" he snapped. Darby smirked. "Okay, princess, I gotta go, but thank you for dropping by," Darby said sarcastically as he turned to go. "Yo!" Hawks called out after him. "Not done with you yet." "Yeah, you are," Darby replied tersely, looking back over his shoulder. "My boy turns 1 on the 11th of January, Hawks said. "Come to the party." "That's still 6 months away. As if I'd go. You really thought I cared?" Darby said in a dead voice as he turned and walked away. "You're more stupid than I thought." "You know my address," Hawks called out casually to the retreating Darby. "Hiyoko would love to meet Uncle Staple." "Screw you," came the reply. And there ends chapter 91. Stay tuned for chapter 92.